The darkness of space was calm, endless, and silent. Stars burned far away, their light cold and distant. For the alien crew of the scout vessel Arcanis, it was supposed to be another quiet patrol. Nothing unusual ever happened in this sector. But then, the signal came. It started as a faint pulse, like a heartbeat echoing through the void. The crew thought it was interference at first, some natural distortion from a dying star. But the pattern was too clean, too sharp. It repeated, steady and deliberate. The communications officer froze, his long fingers tightening over the console. "Captain," he whispered, "this is not random. It is artificial." The captain leaned forward, eyes narrowing at the strange rhythm flashing on the screen. "Origin." The officer's voice shook. "Outer edge of the system. Sector 9. Deep space, where nothing should exist." The room grew quiet. No one spoke. Every crew member felt the weight of those words. Nothing should be out there. Nothing living. Nothing moving. Yet the signal was calling. The Arcanis changed course. Engines hummed softly as the ship drifted closer to the edge of the system. Outside, the stars looked sharper, darker, like silent watchers. As they drew nearer, the pulse grew louder. The rhythm echoed in their instruments. Beep, beep, beep. Like something was waiting. One young navigator muttered, "It feels alive." Nobody answered him. Hours later, they saw it. At first, it was just a shadow against the stars, too large, too still. The crew thought it was an asteroid. But as their scanners lit up, the truth came into focus. It was no rock. It was a ship. And not just any ship, a giant. The alien crew stared at their screens in silence. The vessel stretched farther than their scanners could easily measure, larger than their greatest warships, heavier than their biggest stations. Its hull was dark, metallic, scarred by time yet still unbroken. The captain's voice was low. "By the stars, who built this?" The communications officer swallowed hard. I think it's human." The word spread like fire through the ship. Human. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Stories of humans were old, almost myths. Some said humans were clever but weak, a young species still crawling among the stars. Others whispered darker tales, that humans were unpredictable, dangerous, and merciless when pushed. But no tale had ever spoken of this. No one had ever described a ship this massive, this silent, this terrifying. The crew tried to scan it further. Energy readings flickered across their displays, strange and unstable. The warship was not dead. Something inside it was still alive, still burning, hidden deep within its core. The navigator whispered, "It's sleeping." The words chilled the room. A ship that size, sleeping? What would it look like when awake? The captain forced himself to stay calm. "Open a channel. Try to communicate." The officer obeyed, sending wave after wave of signals toward the giant. Greetings, requests, warnings. All met with silence. No reply. No movement. Only the steady pulse. Beep, beep, beep. Like a heartbeat. Back on their homeworld, the news spread quickly. The Arcanis had found something impossible. The High Council gathered, staring at the transmitted images. A massive warship. Human design. Silent. Waiting. Panic whispered through the chambers. One elder rose, his face grim. "I warned you. I told you humans were not to be taken lightly." The rulers scoffed. "Impossible. Humans are scattered, fragile. Their fleets are small. Their colonies weak. This is nothing but an old relic, abandoned and drifting." But the elder shook his head. His voice was heavy with fear. "No. That is no relic. That is a message. A warning written in steel. Do not provoke them." Meanwhile, aboard the Arcanis, the crew continued to orbit the massive warship. Some begged to leave, to return home. Others argued to stay, to learn more. The captain felt torn. Every instinct told him to flee. But duty held him in place. "Keep your eyes on it," he ordered. "Do not fire. Do not provoke. We will watch, and we will wait." But the longer they watched, the more uneasy they became. The warship's lights flickered. Just faintly at first, like a dying ember reigniting. The crew gasped as faint glows began to run along the hull, tracing strange patterns, illuminating vast cannons and hidden launch bays. "It's waking up," whispered the navigator. The captain's blood ran cold. The alien crew froze. None dared breathe. None dared move. Then, without warning, the signal changed. The steady heartbeat turned sharper, louder. Their instruments screamed with interference as new codes burst across the screens. The ship was broadcasting something. The communications officer struggled to decode it, his hands shaking. It's not a distress call. It's not a threat. He stopped, pale and trembling. What is it? The captain demanded. The officer's voice cracked. It's coordinates. Human coordinates. A location beyond this system. The crew fell into stunned silence. The warship was not alone. Far away, in the cold of space, the giant vessel stirred. Its engines glowed faintly, like eyes opening after a long sleep. For the first time, the alien crew realized the horrible truth. The warship was not drifting. It was not abandoned. It was waiting. And now, it was awake. The captain whispered to himself, voice shaking. We should have never come here. The alien crew could only watch in terror as the first human warship in their history prepared to move. The galaxy would never be the same again. News of the discovery spread like wildfire across the alien empire. The transmission from the scout ship Arcanis was replayed again and again on every screen, the image of the colossal vessel, dark and silent, a shadow among the stars. Some called it an abandoned relic. Others whispered it was alive. But one word burned in everyone's mind: human. The very mention of that word sent shivers through the empire. In the capital chamber, the rulers gathered. Golden banners hung from tall pillars, but their colors seemed dim that day. Holograms of the warship floated above the council table, spinning slowly, casting shadows across worried faces. The High Chancellor slammed his clawed hand on the table. This is nothing but a trick. A derelict ship left behind to frighten us. Humans cannot build such power. They are primitive, fragile compared to us. But an elder, older than the rest, leaned forward. His voice was quiet, but it cut through the chamber like a blade. You are wrong. This is no trick. This is a warning. The humans never show their full strength until it is too late. The Chancellor sneered. Old myths. Old stories. You want us to believe humans are gods. We are the Empire. Our fleets are countless. Our weapons unmatched. What is one ship against the might of thousands? The elder's eyes glimmered with sorrow. One ship is enough. While the leaders argued, the people of the Empire felt unease. Families whispered about the image of the human vessel. Children asked if it was a monster waiting in the dark. Soldiers boasted in public but clenched their fists in private. Fear was growing. On the Arcanis, the crew lived in that fear every second. The alien warship circled the giant vessel, but none dared come too close. Every time the human ship's lights flickered, the crew's hearts froze. The captain had forbidden any attack. Do not provoke it, he ordered again and again. But his own voice trembled when he said it. Then, one night cycle, something strange happened. The human warship moved. It was small, just a shift, like a beast stretching in its sleep. Its massive hull groaned, and a faint glow pulsed across its surface. The crew on the Arcanis screamed as their scanners went wild. The communications officer shouted, "Energy spike detected. Their systems are alive." The captain gripped the command chair, his voice barely steady. "Hold position. Do not fire." But the crew could not look away. The ship was awakening, and every instinct told them to run. Back on the homeworld, panic shook the council chamber. Reports from the Arcanis made even the most arrogant rulers falter. One commander, his voice sharp with anger, tried to hide his fear. "We must strike now. Destroy it before it fully awakens. If humans are behind this, we cannot allow them to test such power against us." The elder shook his head. "You do not understand. That ship is not a test. It is proof. Proof that humans are already far beyond us. If you fire, you will invite death." The Chancellor spat the words like venom. "Cowardice. If we show weakness, the humans will sense it. Better to crush them now, before they spread like a plague." But deep down, even he could not hide the tremor in his hands. On distant colonies, soldiers sharpened their weapons. Generals ordered fleets to prepare. The Empire's propaganda shouted that victory was certain, that no human relic could withstand their power. But the soldiers whispered another truth in the dark. If one ship is that strong, how many more are out there? Aboard the Arcanis, the crew watched the human vessel for signs. The navigator whispered to the captain, "It feels like it is watching us. Even when it does not move, I feel its eyes on us." The captain said nothing. He felt it too. The pulse of the ship's signal continued. Steady. Relentless. Like a heartbeat that refused to die. And then the pulse grew louder. The communications officer shouted, "It's transmitting again." The crew held their breath. Symbols and codes flashed across their screens. Alien eyes widened as they tried to decode them. Finally, the officer looked up, pale with dread. "These are not warnings. These are records. War records." "Records?" the captain asked. The officer nodded slowly. "Yes. Battles fought. Enemies destroyed. Entire fleets erased. This ship is not showing us weakness, it is showing us what humans have already done." The crew sat in silence, the weight of those words pressing on their chests. The vessel was not boasting. It was not threatening. It was reminding them. Back on the homeworld, when the council saw the same records, the chamber erupted in horror. Worlds shattered. Armies crushed. Foes erased in hours. The elder's voice shook as he rose to his feet. "Now you see. This is what humanity hides. This is why I warned you. To them, war is survival. To them, enemies are not opponents, they are obstacles." The council fell silent. No one laughed. No one scoffed. For the first time, they began to believe. The High Chancellor finally spoke, his voice a low growl. "Then we must prepare. If humans are so dangerous, we cannot wait for them to strike. We will gather every fleet, every soldier. And we will show them the Empire's power." The elder closed his eyes. His final words to the chamber were heavy with doom. "You prepare for war, but you do not understand. The humans are already prepared. They always are." And so the Empire began to ready itself. Fleets assembled. Weapons charged. Propaganda promised victory. But deep in their hearts, soldiers, rulers, and citizens all felt the same cold truth. They were afraid. Afraid of one ship. Afraid of what else might be waiting beyond the stars. Afraid of the humans. And the fear was only beginning. The Empire could not wait any longer. After weeks of silence, fear, and arguments, the rulers made their choice. They would send a fleet to confront the human warship. When the order reached the crew of the Arcanis, their hearts sank. They had begged to withdraw, begged to leave the terrifying vessel alone. But now they were commanded to stay and wait, to serve as the guide for the incoming reinforcements. The captain stared at the massive ship through the viewport. Its dark hull floated motionless, as if asleep again, but he knew better. "It is not sleeping," he whispered. "It is watching. Always watching." His crew avoided his eyes. They felt it too. Soon, the Empire's fleet arrived. Dozens of warships tore through the void, shining like a wall of fire and steel. Their weapons gleamed, their engines roared. To the Empire, this was power, unmatched and unstoppable. To the Arcanis crew, it looked like children trying to face a storm. The fleet commander's voice crackled across every channel, bold and arrogant. "Unknown human vessel. You are trespassing in Imperial space. Power down and prepare for boarding. Refuse, and you will be destroyed." The silence that followed was crushing. The human warship did not reply. It simply drifted, its lights dim, its engines quiet. The alien commander snarled. "They ignore us. Very well. Form up. Prepare a warning strike." Inside the Arcanis, the captain slammed his hand on the console. "Stop. Do not fire on that thing. You don't understand." But his voice was lost in the storm of orders. The Empire's fleet had already chosen violence. The first shots lit the void. Energy beams streaked across the darkness, striking the surface of the human ship. Explosions rippled, sparks flew, but when the fire cleared, the warship remained untouched. Its armor held, unbroken, as if the weapons had been nothing more than raindrops on stone. The alien crews gasped. Some shouted in disbelief. Others whispered in terror. Then the human ship stirred. The silence ended with a low hum, a sound that shook every scanner and rattled every hull. Lights flared across its surface, bright and cold, tracing long lines of glowing power along its massive body. Its weapons woke. The Empire's commander shouted, "Defensive formation. Fire again. Fire everything." The fleet unleashed its fury. Hundreds of beams, missiles, and cannons filled the void, slamming into the warship with the force of 1,000 storms. The explosions blinded the stars, lighting up the blackness like a sun had been born. And when the light faded, the human ship still stood. Not a scar. Not a scratch. Then came the answer. One shot. Just one. A single beam of white fire lanced out from the human warship. It moved faster than thought, faster than any defense. It struck the Empire's lead battleship and split it in half, tearing it apart like paper. The entire fleet froze. Silence filled the channels. Soldiers screamed as they watched their strongest vessel crumble into glowing debris. One shot. One ship gone. Panic spread like fire. Some captains shouted to retreat. Others demanded another attack. The commander tried to hold them together, but his voice shook. The Arcanis captain whispered in horror, "They are not fighting us. They are warning us." Because the human warship did not fire again. It simply glowed, its weapons humming, waiting. The aliens realized the truth. If the ship wanted them dead, the entire fleet would already be dust. This was mercy. Terrifying, deliberate mercy. Back on the homeworld, the council watched the live feed. The chamber was silent, the rulers pale with fear. The High Chancellor, who had once called humans weak, could barely speak. One strike destroyed a battleship. The elder stood, his voice heavy with sorrow. And still you doubt? That ship is a messenger. It is telling us what will happen if we continue this path. The rulers looked at one another, faces pale, confidence shattered. For the first time in generations, the Empire felt powerless. Out in space, the alien fleet hung in silence. No one dared fire. No one dared move closer. Finally, a voice filled their comms. A voice that was not alien. It was human. Calm. Cold. Certain. You fired first. Do not make that mistake again. The words echoed through every ship, every mind. The aliens froze, their blood running cold. It was the first time they had heard the voice of humanity. And it was the voice of a predator warning its prey. The human warship powered down its weapons but did not leave. It remained in place, watching, waiting. The alien fleet withdrew in silence. No victory songs, no speeches, only fear. The Arcanis crew felt relief, but it was poisoned with dread. They had survived, yes. But they knew survival had only been granted, not earned. As the alien ships retreated, the captain looked once more at the human vessel. "It could have destroyed us all," he whispered. "And it chose not to." But deep inside, one thought haunted every alien soldier, every ruler, every citizen. If this was only one ship, how many more were out there? The alien fleet limped home in silence. No songs of victory. No speeches of triumph. Only the memory of one beam of human fire, and the wreckage of their strongest battleship floating in space. Across the Empire, whispers spread like fire. Whole streets filled with frightened voices. Markets fell quiet. Families gathered in fear. Everyone had seen the recordings. Everyone knew the truth. The Empire, once so proud, had been humiliated by one ship. In the Grand Council chamber, arguments raged. "We cannot show weakness," shouted one commander. "If we retreat now, the humans will see us as prey. We must strike again, harder this time, with everything we have." Others shook their heads. "We cannot defeat them. That warship is beyond us. If we fight again, we will lose everything." The High Chancellor slammed his fist down. "Enough. We are the Empire. We do not cower before a single vessel. If one ship has such power, then we must crush it before others arrive." The elder stood slowly, his voice soft but filled with iron. "You do not understand. That ship did not fight us with its full strength. It showed you only a glimpse. It could have erased your fleet, and yet it did not. Do you not see? This is not weakness. This is warning." His words hung heavy in the chamber, but pride deafened the rulers. Plans were drawn. Orders sent. Another fleet would be prepared. Meanwhile, the Arcanis still shadowed the human warship. The alien crew lived in fear, each hour stretched long as eternity. The ship never moved, never spoke, but they could feel its presence pressing down on them. Like prey trapped in the gaze of a hunter. Then, without warning, the warship stirred again. Its lights flared brighter, spreading across its massive hull. Cannons unfolded with smooth, mechanical grace. Launch bays opened, revealing rows of hidden weapons. The Arcanis crew gasped in horror. "It's powering up," the navigator whispered. The captain's hands shook on the command chair. "No, it's demonstrating." And he was right. In a sudden flash, the human warship turned its weapons outward, not at the Arcanis, not at the Empire cities, but at empty space. Its cannons fired in perfect rhythm, each shot carving through the void with terrifying precision. Asteroids miles wide shattered in a single strike. Distant moons cracked and broke apart like glass. The crew could only watch, breathless. "This isn't war," the communications officer whispered. "This is a display." Every shot was deliberate. Controlled. Target after target destroyed with flawless accuracy. No wasted fire. No chaos. Only cold, disciplined power. The Arcanis captain finally understood. They are showing us what they can do. They are telling us what will happen if we push them again. Back on the homeworld, the council watched the same display. The chamber fell into silence, their faces pale, their pride stripped away. The High Chancellor's voice shook. "Such precision, such control, no empire has weapons like this." The elder lowered his head. "I told you. To humans, war is not rage. War is craft. Every strike is chosen. Every battle calculated. You thought them weak because they did not boast. Now you see the truth, they do not need to boast." The people of the Empire were shaken to their core. Propaganda could not hide the fear. Children whispered that the humans could shatter worlds. Soldiers no longer believed in their invincibility. Even the rulers, who spoke of strength in public, now shivered in secret. The question echoed everywhere. If one ship can do this, how many more ships are out there? On the Arcanis, the human warship's demonstration ended as suddenly as it began. Its cannons folded back into its hull. Its launch bays sealed. The lights dimmed once more, leaving it silent and still, as if nothing had happened. The crew sat frozen. They knew they had not been attacked. They knew the humans had spared them. But somehow, that mercy was more terrifying than destruction. Then the comms flickered again. A human voice, steady and cold, filled the ship. "You have seen what we are capable of. Remember this. We do not seek your destruction. But if you strike us again, if you threaten us again, you will not survive." The words echoed through every ship in the system, then fell silent. The captain of the Arcanis closed his eyes, whispering to himself. They could kill us all, and yet they choose not to. That choice is what makes them unstoppable. The crew nodded in silence, fear heavy in their hearts. Back on the homeworld, the elder spoke to the council one final time that day. "Now you understand. Humanity does not need to conquer us. They only need us to remember. And we will remember, because fear is stronger than pride." The rulers said nothing. That night, across the empire, every citizen looked to the stars. They no longer saw beauty in the darkness. They saw the shadow of the human warship, waiting, watching. And deep down, they knew the truth. The Empire's fleets, its weapons, its armies, none of it mattered anymore. The humans had revealed their power. And there was nothing anyone could do to stop them. The Empire's leaders could not sleep. The High Chancellor paced his private chambers, hands clenched behind his back. Around him, reports poured in, riots on border worlds, soldiers refusing orders, whispers of surrender. The people had seen too much. Fear had already taken root. Yet still, the Chancellor clung to pride. "We are not beaten," he told himself. "It is one ship. Only one." But deep in his heart, he knew the truth. Across the stars, fleets gathered in silence. Commanders whispered to each other, unsure if they even wanted to fight. The great empire, once so loud and bold, now trembled before a single shadow in the sky. And the shadow did not wait. The human warship moved. For the first time since its arrival, it broke orbit. Engines flared, brighter than suns, and the massive ship turned toward the Empire's core worlds. No words. No warning. Only movement. The Arcanis, still watching, tried to keep pace, but the human ship accelerated faster than any alien craft could follow. It was not simply advanced. It was untouchable. On the homeworld, alarms screamed. Civil defense sirens wailed through the capital. People poured into underground shelters, their voices filled with panic. "They are coming here," someone cried. "No, not here," another whispered. "They don't want our cities. They want something else." And they were right. The human warship did not fire on the capital. Instead, it set its sights on the Empire's military strongholds, orbital shipyards, fleet command centers, weapon factories hidden on distant moons. In a single, chilling sequence, the ship demonstrated its power. One beam. One strike. Each target destroyed with merciless accuracy. An entire shipyard crumbled into fire, thousands of half-built warships reduced to wreckage. A command hub was vaporized, its generals erased in an instant. A weapons moon cracked apart, glowing rivers of molten rock spilling into space. Every strike was precise. No wasted fire. No stray destruction. Civilian cities remained untouched. The message was clear: this is not chaos. This is control. The Empire's fleets tried to intercept. Dozens of warships formed a wall, desperate to stop the advance. They never even reached firing range. The human vessel unleashed a storm of energy, cutting through them like paper. Entire formations vanished in seconds. Crews screamed through comms, then fell silent. And then, silence returned again, cold, heavy, absolute. The alien people, watching from their homes, knew what they had just seen: the death of their fleets. The end of their power. In the council chamber, the rulers sat pale and broken. "We cannot fight this," whispered one minister. "We are finished." The High Chancellor's voice trembled as he tried to answer. "If we surrender, if we kneel, will they let us live?" The elder rose, his eyes filled with sorrow. "They already chose to let us live. Do you not see? If they wanted our cities gone, they would be gone already. Humanity is not destroying us. Humanity is teaching us." On the Arcanis, the crew watched in silence as the human ship drifted among the ruins it had created. The captain spoke quietly, as if afraid the humans could hear. "This is not vengeance. This is judgment." His officers nodded. No one dared to argue. At last, the warship slowed. Its engines dimmed. Its weapons folded away. And then, once again, the comms flickered. A single human voice filled the air, calm and cold. "Your strength is broken. Let this be the last time you raise arms against us. We do not seek war. But if you force it again, your empire will not survive the next strike." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, fear spread faster than light. Messages raced between empires, kingdoms, and federations. Everyone now knew what had happened. The humans had delivered a reckoning, measured, controlled, unstoppable. They had destroyed only what they chose. And by choosing mercy, they proved their power more than any slaughter ever could. On the Empire's homeworld, the people whispered to each other in the shadows. Children asked if the humans would come again. Parents had no answers. Soldiers laid down their weapons, unwilling to face such an enemy. And high above, in the cold black of space, the human warship remained, silent, waiting. Its presence was a warning carved into the stars themselves. That night, the elder stood before the council one final time. His voice was steady, but heavy with truth. "You thought the humans were like us. You thought their silence was weakness, their patience a flaw. Now you see. They are not like us. They are something greater. Something we cannot hope to fight." He looked around at the pale, trembling rulers. And still, they chose mercy. Remember this always: the most dangerous enemy is the one who does not need to kill you to win. The rulers lowered their heads in silence. For the first time in history, the Empire bent under the weight of another's will. And above them, the shadow of the human warship remained, etched into their memory forever. The Empire had fallen silent. No speeches echoed from the council chamber. No fleets gathered at the borders. No commanders gave orders. The mighty machine of war had been shattered in only a few strikes, and now the entire galaxy knew it. But the question remained: what will the humans do next? On the homeworld, fear ruled every street. Families hid indoors, staring at the sky as if the shadow of the human warship could pierce their very walls. Merchants refused to open their shops. Soldiers deserted their posts. Even the nobility locked themselves in their estates, waiting for judgment. Every eye turned upward. And there it was, the human warship, vast and silent, drifting above their world like a blade waiting to fall. In the council chamber, the rulers argued in hushed tones. "We must beg for peace," one minister whispered. "Offer them anything. Our riches, our fleets, even our planets. Just so they leave us alive." Another shook his head. "No. We cannot beg. If we show weakness, they will only tighten their grip." The High Chancellor stared at the floor. For once, he had no words. His pride had been crushed, his power stripped bare. The only sound in the chamber was the steady breathing of the elder. At last, the elder spoke. They will not take your riches. They will not take your planets. The humans did not come for conquest. Then why are they here? The Chancellor whispered. To give us a choice, the elder replied. Above, on the Arcanis, the alien crew remained frozen as the human warship stirred again. Lights along its massive hull brightened. Engines flared. Cannons unfolded. For a moment, the crew feared another strike, but then, the ship transmitted a signal. Not a beam. Not a strike. A message. The voice was calm. Steady. Cold as steel, but not cruel. You have seen what we can do. You have seen how easily we could have destroyed you. But that is not why we came. We are not here to take your world. We are not here to rule you. We came only with a warning. Do not raise arms against humanity again. This is your choice. Remember it well. The words cut deeper than any weapon. The humans were not asking for surrender. They were not demanding tribute. They were not even staying to occupy. They were simply giving a warning, and then, leaving the choice in alien hands. In the council chamber, the silence was unbearable. One minister whispered, They don't want anything. The Chancellor shook his head slowly, his voice hollow. They don't need anything. That is their strength. They could destroy us, and yet they choose to walk away. The elder's eyes glowed with grim certainty. Now you see the truth. They want no empire, no chains. What they want is fear to hold us in place. And fear will rule us more strongly than any army ever could. On the Arcanis, the crew watched as the human ship slowly turned. Its engines burned brighter, carrying it away from the planet, away from the Empire's heart. No ships pursued. No weapons fired. No one dared. As the warship disappeared into the darkness, the captain of the Arcanis spoke quietly to his crew. This was never about war. This was about memory. They wanted us to remember them. And we will. His officers nodded, their faces pale. None of them would ever forget what they had seen. Days later, across the Empire, life began again. Markets reopened, ships returned to the stars, voices filled the streets once more. But nothing was the same. Children spoke in whispers about the human warship, their eyes wide with fear. Soldiers trained, but their hands trembled when they imagined those terrible weapons. Leaders gave speeches, but their voices rang hollow, for all knew the truth. The humans had given them mercy, but it was mercy edged with steel. And far away, beyond the Empire's reach, the human warship traveled on. Silent. Patient. Always watching. Its mission was not conquest. Its mission was not destruction. Its mission was warning. The galaxy now knew. Humans did not need to rule the stars. They only needed others to fear the day when another warship appeared in their skies. The elder stood once more before his people, his voice carrying through the halls of history. You will tell this story to your children, and they will tell it to theirs. The day we first saw a human warship. The day our empire bent not by chains, not by occupation, but by choice. The day we learned that humanity does not need to conquer, for their power alone conquers all. And so the memory remained. The empire rebuilt. The galaxy turned. But in every shadow, in every silence, in every whisper of fear, the same thought echoed in every heart. The humans are out there. They are watching. And if we ever forget their warning, they will return.